This is the before. You can see here on top that there was probably a potted plant up here and it made some damage. I'm also pointing out some of the damage on the top, as well as this white gook that fell. Inside, you can see that there is some damage on top or just some wear. And also on the right of the door, the veneer was coming off. The veneer is also coming off right here in the back, so something must have fallen. And when you get to the other side, you'll see it better. I am poking at the loose veneer right here, and I told the gentleman who dropped off the piece with me that I am pretty sure I can't make it look better, well, new. Now, the first thing I did was I used quick wood to fill in a little piece of wood that was missing. And I know there are other ways to fix this, but quick wood is the best way that I have. You can see that I'm not wearing gloves, and that is not approved with the quick wood company. However, whenever I use gloves, it never works. Now here is wood glue, and you can see that I have it in a little jar. And the reason for that, it's a lot easier to take out than the container that it comes in. However, it's almost empty, so it's kind of hard to get out. So I put it in this way, and it did work. However, the little needle part is just too thick, and I couldn't get it to go inside. So I tried to pry the piece of veneer off. So then I laid down the piece of furniture, and eventually I did get the little needle in there, and I put in some glue. Now, I'm not sure if there is a problem with my garage or if my house has the problem, but this wood glue took a few days to actually dry. After I put the wood glue in, I used my clamp to clamp it in, but then I thought, yeah, I probably should have some piece of wood that's bigger so you can't tell like it's been smushed or badly put together. Now here I'm trying to find a medium fine sandpaper, and that's what I use to go all over this piece. The reason for that is because the biggest problem with this furniture was that the top coat or the varnish was very old. There were some missing pieces in the legs, but when I picked this up from the gentleman who wanted this to be fixed up, I told him, well, okay, let me step back a couple of seconds. I don't know how people were getting my phone number, but I think what happened is that when I signed up for a YouTube channel, YouTube put my cell phone on Google and said my YouTube channel, Projects with Paula, that's what it says on Google, and it says Furniture Restorer. So I must have chosen that as a drop-down menu when I started this channel. I never knew that YouTube was going to post it on Google. So when I first started this channel, I got about 3 phone calls from people, and one lady said, hey, my bed got broken. Can you fix the bed? So I'm thinking, oh, haha, funny prank. That's not real. And I totally ignored it. Then I got another lady who sounded like an older woman saying something was broken. And then I started thinking, maybe these are true. So then I got one more message that I ignored. So the 4th call that I got, I actually replied and said, how did you get my message, my phone number? And the woman said off of Google. And so that's the lady that I did her burled wood side table, and also the one with Howard Feed and Wax that has the most views so far on this channel. So when this gentleman called, he left a message saying that he has his mother's old sewing machine table that he would like restored because his wife is a quilter and they are getting the old sewing machine fixed. So they wanted the cabinet for the sewing machine to be fixed up as well. And he just said that there was some water ring damage. Well, It is water ring damage, but there's water ring that just leaves little white marks. And then this actually went through the veneer. So at the very end of the video, you'll see that there's a little line that I couldn't fix because I didn't want to damage the veneer by making a hole in it to put more glue in because it wasn't raised up very much. I did not want to spend $35 on buying a new veneer piece, and then I would have to unscrew the little piece on the top right that you can see if the camera would go up. So there are 3 screws holding that on. And yeah, the least I mess with people's stuff, the less I can damage it. So I thought to myself, if I can just make it look like it's better, then that's great. So you can see here, I sanded with a medium grit through Surf Prep Sanders squishy sandpaper because a lot of the detail work, like around the legs, I didn't want to mess up. So now you can see very clearly where somebody put something circular right there where my hand is, and you can see like the little crack where the veneer was. So after I very gently sanded this whole piece down, I wiped it off with a very lightly damped cloth because I not only wanted to get rid of all of the old top coat, I also wanted just to get any little pieces, like the front had some white drips on it. I have no idea what that was from. So here I'm pushing down where the veneer I put the glue in, and it's still not dry. And this whole piece took me 10 days. Why? Things would not dry. You can see the little clamp that's orange is on the corner here. That's because the veneer was coming off of the door. I don't know why. However, I did clamp it together. I then sanded it very gently because you could tell where the veneer had cracked but hadn't come off. Here you can see the quick wood is the white piece. It's all dried now, so I can see what's the problem. Here it is. This is where I clamped together the veneer. So after it dried, the veneer, I gently sanded it so that my finger couldn't feel much. However, it could feel some. Here now it's dry, so when I push it, it does not go in anymore. And I'm doing this only to save it so it doesn't get worse. I did tell the man, whose name is Mike, hey Mike, that I couldn't fix 100% of it, but I could just only try my best. So now I believe this is medium fine that I'm using for the sandpaper. And if you are a professional who's charging top dollar on this, you probably should unscrew everything and treat every piece separately. However, he told me that he was getting the sewing machine back within a week or so. So I only had about a week to fix this. It turned out that I got a new job, and so I was busy with that in the mornings and for studying for tests. And so although I did work on this every day, I didn't have as much time as I hoped, and it took forever for the stain to dry. It said 6 to 8 hours. Oh no, it was still tacky after 24 hours. And it was very frustrating. Now you can see here there are some pieces that are damaged. I did put some wood fill in the bigger gouges, and I did tell Mike that I could not fix it, and it really should be re-veneered. But once again, that's about $35 for that piece. And I'm not a veneer pro, so I would have no idea how to fix that. So I'm gently going around and getting all of the old varnish off, and I did do this a few times. You'll see in the video that part of it is still shiny. I sanded this over and over again so the shiny part would go away, so I could start at a quote-unquote clean slate. Okay, so here's me sanding everything. I then wipe it all off. Then I have to let it dry. And I used Min Wax Mahogany color. Now, I think this is a walnut color. However, when you have stains that you want to cover, it's much easier to cover the stains in a darker stain wax. So that's what I chose. I do have mahogany stain at my house, but you can see right here there's some damage. And this is actually what it looks like after it's been sanded only once. So here's the Min Wax. Now I'm using a brush. Normally I use a cloth, but it's because for some reason the Min Wax company is using containers that once you reseal them, they dry out relatively quickly. So although I purchased this only a few months ago and used it only a few times, it's drying so much that the first probably half an inch of the stain dries, so I have to remove it, and then it gets so low down in the container that a paintbrush is much easier to get the stain than my hand with a piece of cloth. So that is why after I put it on with the paintbrush, I get a very nice, very used cloth fabric. This is from an old shirt that I used to wear when I was living in China, and it was Nanchang Cares for Kids, and I wouldn't have used it, but I've gained weight since then. It doesn't fit me anymore, and I think using things rather than getting rid of them is better. So you can see it was dark, but I wipe off all the excess, and I go very carefully around all of the brass pieces. And there are 3 screws in this area, which after I do all the work on, I go back with a paper clip to get any of the sand particles out and just clean it all up. Now here you can see a heater because it's kind of cold in my garage. So I was thinking to myself, maybe if I had a heater, it would be better. And I put in a clean glove that is the plasticky kind to keep it from not sticking together. So here you can see it's a much better inside. That's the glove that falls out so it doesn't stick together while it's drying. And that was an okay idea, but it wasn't that great actually. So I then used polyurethane because it goes with Min Wax. It's the same company and it looked pretty good. However, once I sanded it for the next coat, it started to fall apart on me. And I was like, this is very frustrating. So then I did a third coat and the same thing happened. It kind of disintegrated on me. And I was using 400 grit, not 200 grit like they suggest. So then it was very frustrating. So every time you put on a coat, you have to wait for like 2 or 3 hours. So then I love gator hide. Oh my gosh, Dixie Belle gator hide is so awesome. And the only thing is you can see little streaks a little bit, right? So, however, I did that twice. Here you can see the before. And then the next day it wasn't very shiny, so I used Odie's oil. And I used Odie's oil only on the top, and I used Howard Feed and Wax on the rest of it. I really like Howard Feed and Wax. It makes it look so shiny. So the day that the guy came to pick this up, it wasn't very shiny. So then over the Odie's oil, I did put Howard Feed and Wax. And I don't think that should be a problem. I just was really surprised that the Odie's oil didn't make it very shiny. So here it's before, and here it is after. Oh my gosh. So you can see here's the Odie's oil that I did put, because I think that usually it's a great idea, but the Howard Feed and Wax made it the shiny prettiness. So please subscribe if you haven't. Have a great day, and you can always fix wood.